at the end of the day, it all comes down to being matured enough, being selfless enough, and loving your partner more to want to come out of the withdrawal state and fix your marriage.
Even if one of us is working, we are both earning.
Be careful of being disconnected with your spouse for a long time. You are well on your way to isolation and resentment.
Being separate from your spouse is the most dangerous place you could ever find yourself in.
Definitely.
Hello family, welcome to Finding Beauty in Marriage, your podcast for all things marriage and the place where we build beautiful, meaningful and fulfilling marriages. And as you know, I'm never alone. I'm with the most beautiful woman I know, the wife of my youth, my co-host, Matapelo Maluka. Say hi, Shugu.
Hello everybody. I hope that you are doing well today and excited for today's episode, and we're going to have a great time like we always do.
Yeah, we're going to have a great time because today we are exploring the emotional roller coaster that one faces, especially when you intend or when you are spending your life with someone else. We'll be looking at 10 common emotions that people experience when they are married. These feelings can either strengthen our relationships or they could actually send you down a rabbit hole, where you feel so unfulfilled because of these feelings. So we'll be looking at how these emotions actually get into our marriages, and if they are bad, how can we recognize them before they cause troubles in our marriages? But most importantly, how can we make sure that we don't experience some of these bad emotions, So, without further ado, let's begin. What is number one?
Number one is love.
Yeah.
The foundation of it all. So, love is an emotion, right? And when it is an emotion, is when you feel a deep fondness and attachment to your spouse. It is when you feel strongly connected or intimate with them. It can come as a feeling of tenderness and warmth in the inside of you, also as passion, where it is a strong desire and attraction, often accompanied by physical and emotional excitement. Love in a marriage is important because you do need to feel the emotions and feelings that come with being in love with your spouse. Those butterflies, the excitement, the mushiness, and all because you arouse a deep sense of affection and appreciation for your spouse. This will keep your romance and intimacy at a very high level and pour into your marriage and create a marital satisfaction, right? What is important, though, to note about love as an emotion in a relationship or marriage is that it does not stay. It comes as a result of something having aroused it. So this makes it a task for one to desire to arouse that kind of feeling in their partner or in their spouse, and not only to be intentional about it, but also to be consistent at it. It is also important to note that, especially in marriage, love must be made a decision rather than emotion or a feeling. Because as an emotion, it is conditional and it is temporary. It comes and goes, right? But as a decision, it is unconditional and it is permanent. So decide to love your spouse, whether the feeling is not there or not, and more especially when you are tempted not to love them. That is when you should love them most. That's where the decision over the emotion must kick in. The decision over the feeling must kick in. So agape love is the foundation of marriage, and it must always show up in marriage.
Awesome. I love love. And if you love too, or if you love too, please like, subscribe, share. And if this is your first time being here, please click that subscribe button so that you can be notified of all the episodes that we'll be posting in the future. Number two, and this one is a bad emotion. I think we're gonna have a lot of bad emotions, not because marriage is bad, but because we just want the couples to be able to look out for these things, because these can make your marriage really sour if you don't really pay attention to them. So number two, we are looking at jealousy. Jealousy is a feeling of envy or insecurity, about someone else's advantages. And in the context of marriage, there are two ways in which people breed jealousy. The first one is being jealous against your spouse. The second way is being jealous against another couple, which in both cases, they affect your marriage, right? Now, jealousy in marriage can and will lead to mistrust. It will always lead to mistrust. It will lead to arguments. It will lead to you feeling inadequate, because everything you compare will soon lose its value. So if you compare your marriage to someone else's marriage, you'll eventually start feeling like your marriage is not doing well, because it's just comparison, and comparison is one factor that breeds a lot of jealousy in marriage. The more you compare, the more jealous you become. If you compare, like I said, if you compare yourself with others, you become more jealous. If you are comparing yourself to your spouse, or I want to put it this way, there are things that I know I can't do, and I'm okay with not being able to do them. I should not look at you as my competition because you do those things, right? What other thing? The other thing that builds or that breeds jealousy, it's attention. When one partner feels that their spouse is giving attention to other people more than they give attention to them, or it might not even be people, it might be things, when you feel that your spouse is giving more attention to their PlayStation 5, for instance. That's why you find other women breaking it. Or you are giving more attention to your work than you are giving attention to your spouse. That breeds jealousy. So look out for those things.
Or more attention to your phone.
Yeah, or more attention to your phone. So it can be literally anything that takes more attention than your spouse does. That can breed jealousy in that marriage. Also, insecurities, in a sense that when someone has been betrayed before and the spouse is not really doing much to rectify what had happened before and put their spouse at ease, that will build up a lot of jealousy. So, when you receive a call from a telemarketer who's a lady and, you are just laughing and you are talking nicely to them, it's like, why are you talking? Because they've been beaten before, once beaten, twice shy, right? So how do you avoid jealousy in marriage? Always strive for personal self-esteem and confidence. Jealousy comes as a result of low self-esteem most of the time, so always look out for that. Try to always work on yourself to have a good self-esteem, love yourself, but be confident. And I know I'm just saying be confident as though it's an easy thing. It's not, That's why I'm saying strive to achieve self-confidence, self-esteem, so that these things don't bother you that much, or even if they bother you, but it's minimalistic, right? Avoid comparison. I think that's just obvious. The more you compare, you are jealous.
To be jealous.
Yeah. Communicating, it comes back again.
Always.
Openly discuss your insecurities and your fears with your spouse. Sometimes it's not really, we are all different, and sometimes the things that scare you are not the things that scare me. And in the context of a relationship, I need to be able to tell you what I fear the most, so that you don't go and do and give me my worst fears. That communication needs to be there. Building trust. These are the things that if you don't communicate, then that trust is not going to be built, and you are going to continually be jealous either of other people or of your spouse, and that's just going to make your marriage sour.
Yeah, just to also add on that, something that is important when coming to self-development as well, and the achievements that your spouse tend to attain over years. Try to build yourself also, academically, career-wise. Weird as this may sound, it is possible that a spouse can be jealous of another spouse's achievements in life. So try to build yourself, especially women. When they have children, they tend to stop doing that, focus on the family, and the husband on the other side is advancing. And 5 years down the line, when the baby is out of your hands and they are able to go to school and everything, now you realize that your husband is far ahead of you, and now you're having jealousy issues, and you start blaming them. I was here taking care of the family, and then it just becomes an area of contention. Or husbands where the wife is earning more. You can advance yourself also. Try to climb that corporate ladder as well, and be on the same level. Or easy, you just don't compare, like you're saying. If you feel like you can match up, then match up without any bad blood.
It shouldn't be competition.
It shouldn't be
out of competition.
It shouldn't be out of competition.
Also, I think it's important to say this. Your spouse's success is your success.
The marriage's success as well.
There was an example someone made, and I had a problem with that example, that the husband wanted to build a fence, and he was earning less. So he told the wife, look, I'll save this month and next month, and then on the third month, we will build the fence. And the wife said, no, I have the money now. Let's build the fence now. And the guy was saying, no. The woman basically belittled the man, And
that was the person's opinion.
Yeah, that was the person's opinion. And I'm thinking to myself, that shouldn't be so in marriage.
No.
What the woman earns, or it doesn't matter who earns
it. It's money for the family.
Money for the family. It comes into one pot,
basket,
and we use it from there. If it's money in the house, it's money in the house. If we can build the fence now, let's build the fence now. If we don't build the fence now and wait for 2 months simply because of my ego as a man, someone can come in, a thief can come in because there's no fence and cause much more damage, So it's that kind of a thing. When you look at it from that perspective, you realize you can go much further as a couple, because everything that you attain as my wife, I know it's mine.
There shouldn't be mine and yours. And all of those things,
we are earning. Even if one of us is working, we are both earning.
All right. Number 3, anger. So, this is a problematic one, hey? So anger can be defined as annoyance, irritation, resentment, displeasure, wrath, outrage, or temper, just to mention a few, right? So anger in marriage or relationship has a negative effect and causes sadness, fear, and confusion. If not managed well, it can lead to conflicts, resentment, and communication breakdown in a relationship or marriage. Anger in a person can be aroused by many different things, but the foundation of it all is offense that results in anger. If we can learn to not take offense from our spouses or our partners, we can learn to manage our anger in relationships and marriages. So how I overcame constantly and easily becoming angry with you is that, firstly, obviously, I prayed about it, right? I prayed and I asked God to help me. I laid it down at the feet of Jesus and I took his strength for my weakness, right? And secondly, I did the human part of it, right? You cannot pray without action. That is not a sign of faith. So secondly, I had to realize that and tell myself that you would never go out of your way to offend me and make me angry.
Yeah.
I realize that sometimes I take offense that was never given to me in the first place. So when you know this about your spouse or your partner, it forces you to pause and ask yourself if you are not overreacting.
Yeah.
And want to understand why they did what they did and said what they said that made you angry. Right? You always seek to understand yourself first. That is emotional intelligence, right? Always seek to understand yourself first, and secondly, give your spouse or partner the benefit of the doubt. Give them a chance to explain themselves, and chances are you can save yourself the strain and the torture that comes with being angry.
Yeah.
It is important to pause when you are angry and interrogate your anger. I always say this, interrogate your thoughts. As well, interrogate your emotions. Where is this anger coming from? Does your partner deserve the anger at that point, right? And I don't believe that your partner deserves you acting out of anger towards them at any point. Right? It is something, he or she is someone that you love and you don't want to hurt them. So they don't deserve it. Before you have a go at your partner, always remember that you love them. I think this will help a lot. I love this person, right? And you don't want to spend the near future trying to remedy the damage that you would have caused in your anger. It is better to take some time to cool off and come back with a better and loving response and continue loving one another. Right? The Bible says this in Proverbs 15 verse 1-2. It says, a soft and a gentle, thoughtful answer turns away wrath, but a harsh and painful and careless words stir up anger. The tongue of the wise speak knowledge that is pleasing and acceptable, but the babbling mouth of fools spouts folly. Right? So really, if you want to not make your partner angry, because they will come back with a defensive response, and that will just spill over into being a fight and a disagreement and all of that, right? So there's also those people that get angry by withdrawing and giving their spouses a silent treatment. Well, this is better than lashing out at them. However, do not just withdraw and not use this time to interrogate your thoughts. Find the root as you prepare a gentle and a soft response to your partner. Do not, and I repeat, do not withdraw for a long time. Right? Even the Bible does encourage us that we should not be angry for a long time. It is unhealthy to you as an individual, and it is unhealthy to your marriage. It steals your joy, it steals peace, love, and so much more from you as an individual and from your marriage. Anger all around is just not good. I know there's what is called healthy anger and good anger, but this is not what I'm pointing out here, right? Your anger must be short-lived. So that you can come back to your marriage fast, quick, in a hurry, right? One may think I may be unrealistic on this point because I may not know the magnitude of the offense. But at the end of the day, it all comes down to being matured enough, being selfless enough, and loving your partner more to want to come out of the withdrawal state and fix your marriage and your relationship. So during the time of your withdrawal, due to anger, there is a gap and a disconnection that is taking place. It is growing and it is wasting time that is happening at that time, right? And it will cause detrimental effects to your marriage, and you will need to spend more time mending and fixing when you could have just used that time to continue loving one another. So in a nutshell, what I'm saying is that acting out of anger is avoidable. It can be done. It is a skill that can be acquired. You need to train yourself at it, have emotional intelligence, like I said, and place your love for your spouse above your emotions during that time.
I think if there's any school that teaches how to be like Christ, it's marriage. Because all these things that we are talking about, now you spoke about anger and how we should not stay angry for a long time. These are the teachings of Christ, and what better way to exercise not being angry
in your marriage?
It's in your marriage, and I think the whole purpose of marriage, really, I do believe one of the reasons we need to be married and stay married is for us to become more and more like Christ.
Yeah.
All right.
It's a mystery that Paul talks about.
Yeah. Yeah. Number 4, gratitude.
Yeah.
Let's just speak on lighter things. Gratitude. I think you are blessed if you are married to someone who's grateful, and your spouse is blessed if you are a grateful person.
Yeah.
Gratitude is the feeling of thankfulness and appreciation. And how it impacts marriage is gratitude will always strengthen the bond that you guys have as a married couple. It will increase mutual appreciation of this couple that is always grateful. So the more grateful I am, or the more gratitude I show, is the more grateful and the more gratitude I make you show, right? It will always enhance the overall relationship satisfaction.
Yeah.
And that is, whenever we are grateful, our relationship always feels like a happy place.
Yeah.
Because you show gratitude for what I do, and I show gratitude for what you do. And guess what? Because we are always changing those words of gratitude or those actions and gestures of gratitude, what happens is you tend to do much more than you are required to do in your relationship, because you feel more appreciated for what you are doing. So always acknowledge what your partner is doing for you. We always say this. Always be ready. In fact, look out for
things you should
the things that you should be grateful for, and always be ready to say thank you for those things.
And I guess, just to get in it starts with the little things. Them making you coffee, them massaging you, them helping you, it doesn't have to be them buying you a car, doing extraordinary things, because for me to buy you a car, you first need to say thank you for the coffee that I made.
And that's the thing.
Like you said, it will encourage me to do more and to go big.
And that's the thing. People want to be grateful when they feel that what you have done for them matches what they require in their minds, but it's not all the time that you're gonna get exactly what you want. So everything that is that little thing, that little note that your husband or your wife left for you,
so it's not about what you want, it's about what they do.
It's really not what they want.
Profound.
It's what
you must
they
thank
do.
them for what they do, not thank them for what you want.
Exactly. You will get what you want someday. But even if you don't get what you want, still be grateful for what you are getting, because gratitude always makes room for more. If you are not grateful for the little that they do
You'll
today, you will not get what you want. So always be grateful, always be cognizant of what they are doing, always be mindful, and be present in your relationship. When we say be present, people who are not present, they can be here, but they're just absent. So whatever you do in that relationship, they miss it. So be present in that relationship so that you can be able to see what is being done, but also by you being present and you being able to see what's being done, then you can be able to be grateful for the things that are being done in that relationship. So consistently show support for each other. That's a way of being grateful. Show support for each other during both good and bad times. Marriage always prepares you
For the world.
For the world. You know, if you are not grateful in your marriage, you won't be grateful anywhere else.
And you'll miss
and you'll miss big opportunities. So some of the things that we gain outside, you know, the business deals that we get, the work promotion that we get, if you really pay attention, especially if you're a married person, they come because
the training that you get
because of the training that you get in your marriage. You know, people see these things. They may not say it, but they see these things and they appreciate these things. That promotion you get because you are always true to your word. Where did you train that? You made a promise. You made a promise to your spouse, and you kept it. You know, and the more you do that, what happens is you build in you that quality of being trustworthy. People out there are not trustworthy. When you come out trustworthy, you just stand out. You know, you just stand out, and people notice that. So always show gratitude in your marriage, because with gratitude comes more opportunities. With gratitude comes more beauty in your marriage.
Definitely.
And with gratitude comes more good things even outside your marriage. You know, so always show gratitude.
Awesome. That's beautiful. Gratitude as an emotion. Okay, number 5, sadness. Right? So sadness is often viewed as a negative, unwanted, undesirable feeling. It is characterized by unhappiness, emotional pain and hurt, disappointment and unmet expectations, and hopelessness, among others. So sadness in marriage robs the couple of joy and happiness. It deprives the marriage of its overall satisfaction if not addressed by both partners. What sadness will do is decrease communication levels in marriage. You will not want nor feel like talking to your husband or your spouse, and we know that this causes disconnection between the couple, amongst other things. And where there's a disconnection in marriage, there's a disconnection in intimacy. There is a lack of intimacy at all levels, right? When communication issues arise because of sadness, conflicts and disagreements are likely to take place, and this may result in fights, right? And issues go unresolved because you are sad and you don't want to talk and whatnot. So when one is sad in marriage, you know, there are people that can be sad for a long time. People have been married for 20 years and they've been sad for the entirety of their marriages, right? When this is the case, feelings of bitterness and resentment come into play. You feel isolated and you feel alone. You are just married and doing your own thing because you have disconnected with your spouse, right? And you are now in isolation. So I just want to say, be careful of being disconnected with your spouse for a long time. You are well on your way to isolation and resentment. Sadness will lead you to feeling unhappy and unfulfilled in your marriage, and that is a dangerous place to be at, because at this stage it is easy for one to start contemplating separation and divorce. It is important to address the underlying causes of sadness in marriage. Don't let it go unattended, right? You can see when your spouse is sad. So address those issues, right? So the couple must work together to, number 1, improve communication rather than decreasing it.
Communication comes again.
Right? Increase communication, do not decrease it. Number 2, rebuild and maintain intimacy. Do not disconnect. Stay connected at all levels of intimacy. Number 3, address conflicts and resentment. Do not sweep things under the carpet, because they will grow and overwhelm you and eventually become mountains that you cannot move. Number 4, foster appreciation and gratitude. You just said that, right? This is like fuel and spice to your marriage. And always remember to support each other's personal growth, right? And emotional well-being and everything else.
In your 2 points, you spoke about that gap that is created when one is feeling sad, you know, then they decide to be away for a while and still
to do marriage alone,
yeah,
basically.
Yeah. I think being separate from your spouse is the most dangerous place you could ever find yourself in.
Definitely.
Especially if your time out is not to really gather your thoughts, and interrogate what is happening in your mind. And when you do that interrogation, try to do that interrogation through the lens of your love for your spouse. Don't just do it haphazardly, because that distance alone creates an opportunity for the devil to speak to you and
demonize
your
spouse.
And just that's what I'm saying, look at it from the lens of your love for your spouse, to say, okay, I love this person, I know this person loves me, so because we love each other, how did this happen?
How do we come out of this?
How did we first get in here, and how do we come out of it? But you look at it from
the lens of
your love for them, or your love as a couple. Then that will help you get into a solution much quicker. And it doesn't allow for the devil to start speaking to you to say, you see, when they start acting like this, then they saw a shorty somewhere. It's not that. We are all human, we all make mistakes.
He will show you all the bad things, all the wrong things, how much of a monster they are.
None of us would be married right now if we were to look at the flaws our partners have.
Definitely.
And keep on to them, because all of us are flawed. It's just human nature to be flawed. So if you are not going to really because love says, I know your flaws and I don't care.
I know your flaws, but I love you more.
I know just how bad you are in this area, but I love you anyway. So
Jesus loved us anyway.
So if you looked at your relationship that way, and you looked at your spouse that way, especially in times of conflict, then it helps you get to the solution much quicker. If you like this episode, if you like what we've spoken about so far, please like, subscribe, share, and if this is your please comment, tell us how you are feeling about all these things that we are talking about. And maybe we've missed some, because obviously we don't know everything also. And maybe we've missed some of the feelings. Please comment down below. Let us know what feeling you experience in your marriage. And remember, please share your questions with us so that we can do that episode, that Q&A episode. And if this is your first time, remember to click on that subscribe button and that notification bell there, so that you can get notified every single time we post a new episode. Number 6, and I think it goes hand in hand with what you've spoken about. From sadness, you graduate to resentment. Now, resentment is the feeling of bitterness. When you see them, Jay, you just want to hang them. You just want to strangle them. That feeling of bitterness and anger towards your spouse, and it usually comes from a legitimate place. In a sense that maybe you were treated unfairly. So it comes from a legitimate place most of the time, but its place of legitimacy doesn't make resentment right in your marriage. You need to
give place to resentment. In your marriage.
It doesn't mean now you need to remain resentful because it came from a legitimate place. You were wrongfully treated. Yes, you'll be, like I said, we are all flawed. Sometimes I'll speak to you in a way that you don't like for me to speak to you, right? And if you are not going to address that, chances are I'm gonna do it again. And the more I do it, the more resentful you will become. So, and the danger of that is that it will always create emotional distance.
Yeah.
It will always, like you said, lead to lack of intimacy at all levels. You know, it will always create conflicts. You know, I will ask you for a simple thing, like, you know, when are we fetching the kid from school? But because you are having resentment issues,
He is your child. Why don't you
it's a
go
fight,
fetch him?
you know?
Yeah.
Like,
why are you
okay,
asking me? Since when do you ask me when to fetch him? Why don't you just go fetch him?
You know? So, and one would sit there thinking, okay, where is this coming from now? Because I just asked if we are eating chicken or beef today. Why are you telling me about a duck that needs to be fried? You know?
If you had bought the grocery, you wouldn't be asking me such questions.
You know?
Today we are eating beef.
Yeah,
Or we are eating
a duck.
stuff. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So it's those things that resentment always hides.
Yeah.
And it will rear its ugly head when it's least expected. You know? And if you are going to, maybe let me say this, resentment will always build up where there are unresolved issues.
Yeah.
If you sweep small grievances under the carpet,
Yeah.
they will come out one day as a huge giant.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, they'll come up as one huge giant, not those small grievances that you've been putting
sweeping,
under.
yeah.
You know, if there's imbalance in the relationship, that breeds a lot of resentment. And by imbalance, I mean if one partner feels like they are pouring more into the relationship than the other one, they tend to resent
Definitely.
the partner. So
Definitely.
always strive to be close to each other. You might not be equal in pouring into the relationship, but you can be close to each other. You know, there'll always be one partner doing more. And let me put it this way, it's always and often said that in a relationship you bring your 100%.
Yeah.
And not your 50%. So when we are combined, it's 200%, like the medical aid says. You know?
Yeah.
You now have 200%. But what happens is you will not always be at your 100%
All the time.
all the time.
Yeah.
But because you have 200%, you will always be above 100%, the both of you.
That's good.
Because you are going to sometimes feel like a 50%, but your spouse maybe feels like a 70% at that time.
It's above 100.
It's still above 100%.
Yeah, that's good.
So this whole thing, I say this because that imbalance in a relationship is rectified when I know that today you can't cook and I will cook today. You know, you know that today I can't fetch our son from school. You then fetch our son from school. And it's an imbalance of how we both contribute into the relationship, you know, into our marriage. And we need to always strive for that. Gents, you can't always be reading the newspaper. Do people still read newspapers? Oh, I'm too old.
Oh my goodness.
You can't be sitting on the couch and expecting your wife to do absolutely everything.
Take care of the kids.
You know, take care of you.
Take care of
take
the
care of
house.
the kids. You know,
You just come and say, "I'm bringing home the bacon."
you know,
That's my
it's
responsibility.
just not fair.
It's
you know,
not.
it will lead your spouse to resent you. And again, lack of appreciation. That also breeds a lot of resentment. So how do you avoid resentment? Number one, always express your feelings.
Yeah.
Always express your feelings honestly and constructively instead of bottling them up.
Yeah.
Because as we said, if you bottle them up, they're gonna come up one day
Yeah.
as a huge monster. Number two, always strive for fairness in the relationship. Ensure that both partners in the relationship always feel valued and heard. And I think we've spoken about this many times.
Yeah.
Number 3, always be willing to compromise. I can't tell you how much this is such a game changer. There is no area in your life ever in your life that will require you to compromise as marriage will, and the problem we find and in the area of resentment is that people are not willing to compromise. People are not willing to understand each other's perspective or each other's approach, or each other's dealing of things. And if you are not willing to compromise in those areas, then that becomes a bone of contention, leading to resentment, and eventually just blows up. So resentment is just bad for your marriage. Don't remain resentful. Well, don't be resentful. Just try not to be in a space where anger, it's even allowed to some extent. To say you can be angry but not for long. Resentment, on the other hand, don't be resentful at all. Because that will just lead you in a road that you might find yourself not being able to come back from. Because resentment really gives you all the reasons why you don't love this person, all the reasons why you should be out of this marriage as soon as possible. And that's what resentment does to a marriage.
Scary stuff. Number 7. 8.
Yeah.
Are you sure?
7.
Number 7. Fear. So to fear, obviously, is to be afraid, to be scared, to be terrified, to be anxious, to worry and to panic, to avoid something or to dread something, to freeze or flight, to be hyper vigilant, right? Where you are always being extra careful of what you say, how you say it, when you say it. Right, you just can't say what's in your mind without preparing a speech. Every time that you have to speak to your spouse, you are preparing a speech. You are even in front of the mirror practicing your speech,
creating an alibi,
checking if everything that you are saying is gonna sound
spot
good
on,
and spot on, and even preparing the answers to the questions that you are not yet asked.
Possible answers.
Right. The other thing is, and always walking on eggshells around your partner or in your marriage, right?
Nice. God, it's not nice.
It is not. It is not. So let me just start off by saying this. Fear has no place in any relationship, especially marriage, because it is a clear indication that something is wrong. If you fear your spouse, something is wrong. And it means that one is very uncomfortable in that space. Being fearful of your partner or spouse, for me, feels like being in prison with no rights, and that is not right. Right? I just rhymed right there.
Yeah, I can hear you. I can see what you're doing.
So, how are you now to have a normal and a happy marriage when you are fearful of your spouse? This means that you are not living up to your best in your marriage, right? Chances are you don't feel seen, you don't feel heard, you don't feel considered nor prioritized. You are just there in the relationship or in the marriage existing. So you can tell that your spouse is afraid of you when I have like a couple of points, right? Few points, like there are quite a few. So number 1, you know that your spouse is afraid of you when they avoid you, especially when you are angry. They avoid interactions or conversations with you because they are scared or fear how you are going to respond. Number 2, their body language. They display defensive or fearful non-verbal cues or gestures, such as crossing their arms, or their legs, avoiding eye contact, tensing up and flinching, or taking a step back and creating distance between the two of you. There's passive behavior. They become overly passive or submissive, and they hesitate to express their own opinions and their needs. Number 4, defensiveness. They become overly defensive or dismissive when you try to discuss issues of concerns with them. Because it will probably end up in a fight, and that is what they are scared of. Number 5, I believe, emotional withdrawal. They shut down emotionally, making it difficult to have meaningful conversations with them, because they probably thinking that you will say harmful things to them, hurtful things to them, and they are scared to hear that. They rather not hear that, so they just emotionally shut down. You will be talking and they are not hearing a thing you're saying because they have shut down. Number 6, I believe, they exhibit physical signs like sweating, trembling, and nervous laughter. Right? I was watching that show. What is it that was doing the rounds not so long ago?
I remember the show.
There was that lady that was just laughing a lot. Laughter, so she had that nervous laughter, So avoiding conflicts, they steer clear of conflicts and difficult discussions, even if it means sacrificing their own needs. Like, how are you going to then resolve issues and conflicts when they go unresolved and not managed, right? How is the marriage going to then grow when difficult conversations are avoided? They must be heard. You must have those difficult conversations. You must manage conflicts, right, for the betterment of everyone and for the betterment of the relationship. They seek an escape. This is the most scary one. They seek an escape. They might seek an escape or relief through substance abuse or substances, right? They start drinking, they start smoking, they start doing drugs just so they can escape you. They seek new hobbies just so they can stay clear of you, far away from you, and other means of distractions, right? And then lack of intimacy. This is how you're gonna know that your partner is scared of you. There's lack of intimacy in the relationship, right? Intimacy at all levels. They don't want to mentally connect. They don't want to emotionally connect. They don't want to spiritually connect or physically connect. They withdraw, right? What fear will do is close up your partner from you. If they don't feel safe with you because they fear you emotionally and otherwise, they will shut down. And this is detrimental to the marriage. And I don't know what is left of a marriage when it is at this point, right? When your partner has just closed up from you at all levels. Now, lastly, verbal cues. They use phrases like, I don't want to fight, right? When you talk to them, you know that your partner is fearful of you when you try to talk to them or try to engage them and they say to you, I don't want to fight. Because they know
where it's going to end up.
It's going to end up to a fight, right? Statement like, I'm scared of how you will react. I don't want to tell you this because I'm scared of how you will react, right? Lastly, statement like, I feel like I'm walking on eggshells around you.
Wow. I think that deserves a repeat. One should just scroll back a bit and just restart that part, because many marriages find themselves in that situation, where one is just fearful. And the thing about fearfulness is it renders you immobile. You can't do so many things because of fear. You can't
live up to the best of your
you can't
self.
Give your best to the marriage. You can't give your best again You can't
Anywhere
even give your best, even at work, where your spouse is not
your
even.
other relationships.
You know, you can't be the best person you can be simply because you are being. It's almost like you are being shut down at your core.
Yeah.
Because marriage really creates. You know, when we speak about marriage and we speak oneness, it sounds so vague until these things happen, you know, because oneness really speaks to if you are married and you are being shut down at marriage level, then it's like your whole being is being shut down.
Yeah. You
so
will be timid everywhere.
you can't be you can't be active anywhere else
yeah.
because you are being shut down at your core, you know, where you're supposed to be grounded, where you're supposed to be fueled, where you're supposed to be encouraged and, you know, given all the tools that you need for life. You can't exercise anything elsewhere because at the core you are being shut down. So that's like I like what you just spoken about now.
Yeah, I was so emotional when I was writing this script, you know. It really got to me because you tend to, your mind goes to those people that you know that are fearful in their marriages, and you look at them and you say, you know, you can literally fix this. You know, your marriage is not supposed to be like this. Right?
So at no point should one feel unsafe in their marriage. Considering the fact that this is a lifelong commitment. You know, it creates some really non-nice emotions.
No, it was not nice.
All right, number 8. We are talking confusion. People experience a lot of confusion in their marriages.
Are we dating or not?
We are
in a situationship or a relationship. What's happening?
And that's the thing, you know. You know, I'm a big proponent of there needs to be clear lines. You know, if you are married, you must know that I am married.
And funny enough, there are people that don't know whether they are married or not.
That's the thing, you know. I'm talking about this because I have these people in my mind, like, guys, you are married or you are dating or what, and
they don't know.
And we are not lying to you. There are people who have no idea what they are doing. Like, are we still dating? Are we courting?
Are we married?
Our families have met.
But
we had a whole celebration and all that, but they still don't know if they are married. Like, how do you
the other one is saying, no, we have to sign. The other one is saying, but I paid lobola for you. You are my wife.
We celebrated.
No, you are not.
You know. So I think we'll speak about some of these things, you know, someday on what really constitutes marriage. You know, because I think it needs to be made clear for some people. You know. So that just creates confusion. And some people are still confused, having been together in the same house for a long time. You know, confusion really is just a state of being unclear or being uncertain about something. And when there is confusion, you can't move forward. And that's why confusion is so dangerous for your marriage. Where there's confusion, you can't move forward at all because you will be pulling to two separate and different directions, which create misunderstanding, will create miscommunication, it will create frustration between the two of you because there's just confusion. Now how does confusion build up in marriage? I think the most potent breed of confusion is assumption. Where you don't ask questions, you just assume this is what's going to happen, or this is how things will happen, or this is how he will or she will behave. Just making a lot of assumptions
Yeah.
will
When
lead you.
I used to say to my friends, there's this other friend of mine.
Yeah.
I think she's new in marriage. No, not that I think. She's new in marriage, you
Yeah.
know. And she was asked, "Kanta mandona, yo, let me not even try. How do men think?" Because she's Zulu. Now I tried. It dribbled me there. So I was saying to her that,
You're making me
There's
look bad,
no-
so that I'm not teaching
but
you.
you're not Zulu. You're not Zulu. You're not
Still,
Zulu.
it's the same language.
So I said to her, if there's one thing about marriage that you will learn very fast and quickly
Yeah.
and very early in marriage, is that common sense is not common.
Yeah.
Yeah, what is common sense to me
Yeah.
is not common sense to you.
Yeah.
And I that used to frustrate her so much. Like,
Yeah.
but this is common sense. I'm like, my dear,
It's not.
Not in marriage. It's
Yeah.
not.
Yeah. So making assumptions really about what the other person thinks, about how they feel, without asking them,
Yeah.
is a recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
You will always find yourself confused
Yeah.
because you'll think amadoda acabanga kanje, kanti amadoda acabanga kanje, and it
I wanted
becomes,
to say that.
you think about how we think nje is so
Yeah.
different.
Yeah, definitely.
We always maybe would go to the shop and just buy what I was there for and come back. And you're like, but why didn't you buy this? We need 1, 2, 3. I'm like, but that's not what I was thinking about.
Oh man. And the minute you get this, the grace that you are able to offer your partner is so amazing.
It's so amazing.
Yeah, it's so amazing.
So confusion really is a recipe for disaster. Because it will lead you to resentment eventually.
Yeah.
If you do not get your communication right and fix your areas of confusion.
Yeah, get clarity.
Find out, what is this what you mean?
Yes.
Is this because what
I
men
hear this. Is this what you mean?
what men say and what they mean are two different things. What all of us say, actually, yo, I'm fine, says something, but it means something, know. So we need to be able to ask that question. What do you mean by this? This is what I'm hearing. Is this what you mean? And have the other person confirm if this is exactly what they mean.
Yeah.
Right? That will get rid of the confusion in your marriage. Mixed signals. That is, I think we spoke about this, especially when we're talking about people who are who value quality time together. Mixed signals create a lot of confusion. Where in the example of quality time person, if you sit with them trying to create that quality time, and then you pull out your phone and start scrolling through your phone and not involve them into that scrolling of the phone, they feel disconnected from you, and they feel like you are saying you don't love them, because they understand quality time as you saying to them, I love you. So the opposite to that is I don't love you. So it sends mixed signals. You are here with them, so they don't know if, okay,
Would you
he's
rather
here,
be somewhere?
yeah, but he's on his phone. So do they love me? Them being here says they love me, but they are on their phone, so they don't love me. So now
Human beings are complicated.
so there's so much unclarity,
Yeah.
it's not clear on what you mean.
Yeah.
And that's where I think being inconsistent creates mixed signals. So being inconsistent in words versus your actions. You can't say one thing and do another.
Yeah.
That creates a lot of mixed signals and creates a lot of confusion. You cannot be ambiguous. Right? You can't be unclear about your needs, your desires, your expectations.
True.
You need to be clear on those things, because if you are not clear on them, they create confusion to your spouse. It's easy. I think there's a difference between me saying, I like it when you touch me. I like it when you touch my beard.
Yeah, massage my head.
When you massage my head. Those are two different things, you know. So the clearer you are, the better, especially in the area of confusion. Try to be as clear as possible. If you need to spell it out, spell it out. You know, I know when people are fighting, they say this. Do you want me to spell it out? Yes, I want you to spell it out. You know, because
I want you to touch my head.
Yeah, you know, because it removes that that gap for assumption. It removes that gap for confusion. So how do you avoid confusion? Like I said, clarity, active listening. We spoke about active listening. Be patient, and I want to touch on this a bit. Being patient in allowing your spouse to explain to you. Sometimes our spouses want to explain, but I know Mina, I'm an explainer. You know, you on the other hand, you want chop.
Chop.
You know,
get to the point, sir.
You know, get to the point. And sometimes getting to the point.
When you are cooking.
Yeah, I'm still cooking. You know, sometimes getting to the point too fast or prematurely.
For some people.
Yeah, it removes a lot of context.
Yeah.
I think the best example is there are people who like their tea with a warmed up cup. Right?
You warm up the cup first.
They like rooibos, so they'll tell you that they like rooibos. When are you gonna rush and go there and go do the rooibos? They're gonna get the tea. It's rooibos. It's what they said they like, but
it's cold.
You didn't allow them to explain, you know, the context behind how they like their tea. So you end up doing the wrong thing because you didn't allow them to cook. You didn't allow them to explain, right? So they would have explained to you that although I like rooibos, I still like my cup to be warmed up first. You know, put the cup in the microwave, just the cup alone. Microwave it for 1 minute. Only then do them there, you know. And it's funny because they know
what they want.
They know when you give them tea that was done with a cup that was not warmed. They'll tell you that this tea, something is wrong with this tea. You know, and you're like, no man, it's rooibos. Like it's rooibos, Mara. Something is not right. You know, so have that patience. For your spouse to explain to you what they actually mean by the things they say, you know, or what they actually require, so that you can know the context behind. Sometimes it's the explanation is of a sentimental value to that they like stew because it reminds them of home, and you know, so getting that context helps you even make appreciate why
doing what you have to do for them,
you know. So always be patient with your spouse, especially in the area of confusion, because sometimes this confusion is created by us not being active listeners. It's created by us not being patient enough to hear their story.
Don't finish each other's sentences. You must listen.
I always say
listen.
Finishing each other's sentences is actually rude.
It's very rude. I'm talking and you're here finishing my sentence. Very rude. And Hollywood has romanticized it to be something very cute. It's not cute. You are being rude. You are not listening.
You are not listening.
Don't finish my sentence. I'm well capable of doing it myself. All right. Number 9. Joy or happiness. So, joy is an emotion that can be characterized by happiness, pleasure, cheerfulness, and contentment. Joy in a relationship or marriage is powerful and an uplifting emotion that it can enhance the well-being of the relationship and marriage, right?
Yeah.
It makes it a place of happiness. It makes it a place of fun.
Yeah.
When you are not happy in a relationship or marriage, it is a sign that one spouse or both of you are not pouring into each other's happy cup, right? Which will in turn spill over into the marriage or the relationship.
Yeah.
Joy or happiness is not automatic, right? It must be known that it is not automatic, but it requires intentionality and consistency to maintain it. You must want to desire, or you must want rather and desire to make your spouse happy. If we desire joy in our marriage, our spouse's happiness must matter to us.
Yeah.
We must scratch this thing that we have been taught of a happy wife and a happy home, right?
Hollywood.
Hollywood. Oh my goodness. But it is rather a happy spouse, happy marriage, right? If you are happy and I am happy, then our marriage is happy.
Yeah.
There's no way that I can be happy,
For the both
you
of
are
us.
miserable, and we have a happy marriage.
Yeah.
It does not
It
work
doesn't
like
work
that,
that way.
right? We'll not use your happiness for the both of us. It
Yeah.
doesn't work like that. So we should, however, be cautious not to place our happiness, right, as an obligation on our spouses, right? Because happiness is an inside job. It must come from the inside going out, right? Giving, coming from you, giving it, and never expected from the outside coming in, right? Your spouse must not be the one to make you happy, but it is a personal work, right? You should be happy with or without your spouse making you happy.
Yeah.
It should not be placed on them as a responsibility. Them making you happy should be just them filling your happy cup,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
When you are happy, it is much easier for your spouse to make you happy. When you are happy on your own, it is much easier for them to make you happy. It will not be a burden, but rather it will be a delight for them to make you happy.
Yeah.
If you are an unhappy person generally, trust me, your spouse can do anything under the sun to try and make you happy, and none of it will work. They will fail dismally.
Even if they do it at the moon, yeah, fine. It's just not going to work.
Okay.
Just saying, it's not just under the sun.
Oh my goodness. So strive to work on your happiness so that it becomes easy for your spouse to make you happy, to want to pour into a happy cup with a willing heart, right? And gladness.
Yeah.
And it will be received and appreciated by you because you are already happy by yourself.
Yeah. I think, like you say, I like how you put it. Happiness is an inside job.
Yeah.
Anything that feels, none of us in this world, bring me one person who likes obligation.
No.
I will pay you.
Yeah.
So all of us can do anything we want to do in this life without being paid for it.
Yeah.
Until it feels like an obligation.
Yeah.
Then suddenly we don't like doing it. So if you place your happiness on your spouse as an obligatory work, then they will hate making you happy.
Yeah.
In fact, they'll do the opposite.
They
They'll
will
do the
stop
opposite.
trying.
Yeah, definitely. The last one, disappointment, number 10. Disappointment is a feeling of sadness and displeasure when expectations are not met. And I think expectation is the key word there.
Yeah.
Because if you don't manage your expectations, you are doomed for disappointment. Disappointment will always impact marriages in a sense that it will lead you to dissatisfaction. You'll feel like you are unfulfilled in your marriage and you are just not getting joy, the joy that you have spoken about in your marriage, simply because you haven't managed your expectations and you got disappointed. Now, how does disappointment build up in marriage? First of all, people have high expectations.
Yes.
People have
Especially in this generation we live
high
in.
expectations. Yeah. I mean, Hollywood has set the standard, and I hope these episodes, they help really fix our mindset when it comes to marriage, because high expectations will always be met with disappointment. And I'm not saying you should not have high expectations of your spouse. There are things that you rightfully expect. You rightfully have high expectation of me to do. And there are things that I highly expect of you. But those things are not unrealistic. The problem is when we start setting up now unrealistic high expectations of each other. There's just no way I can expect you to wake up at 5 a.m. because and wake up at 5 a.m. Mop the floor, clean the yard, come and make breakfast.
Prepare us.
By the time I wake up, breakfast is ready. Our son is bathed. My clothes are ironed. My lunchbox is packed. You know what? It's just. And then
me, that's me, right? There are wives that can do that.
Yeah, I'm talking about you specifically.
Yes.
I don't expect you to do all those things.
Yeah.
Because I know who you are, I know how you are, and it's really unrealistic for me.
I'm joking.
It's really unrealistic for me to be expecting such of you.
Yeah.
There are people who are married to people or to wives who have not cleaned, who have not washed the laundry all their lives, because they grew up in a house where those things are done
by someone else.
It's unfair. It's really unfair to expect that person to start suddenly grow a pair of hands that knows what to do with laundry. It's just unfair. So setting that kind of expectation, you are setting them up for failure, because a week into your marriage you'll notice they don't know how to do those things. Already they are.
That's why people must talk at the dating stage.
Guys.
Dating is for
stage.
questioning.
You know what?
Can you wash dishes?
The marriage
yes,
corner,
no.
we are coming.
Can you cook? Yes,
The
no.
singles corner,
Can you iron? Yes, my goodness. People must talk. Don't just have butterflies in your tummy and love
marry.
Hearts in your eyes and miss all these things. Now you are married with someone
and go to Dubai and get married.
And now you are married with someone who wants a helper for everything. Now you are shocked. You shouldn't be shocked, because you were supposed to be talking.
These things you should know. And this is what I that's why I'm always a proponent of these lines being drawn. When you are dating, there is no, I will say it boldly, there is no commitment there. Right? There's no commitment there. You are dating. You are getting to know each other before the commitment. You are talking.
Dating is before commitment. It's not the commitment.
It's not the commitment.
Profound.
You find ways in which to probe into each other's life. You start asking questions. You ask a bunch of questions. If you haven't asked 500 questions while you are dating, you haven't dated. Ask questions. When you feel that, okay,
you see the emotional intelligence of people. If people want to talk, can people go back into their childhood? Is a person,
are these people open?
Are they transparent? Can they be vulnerable?
How do they treat people around them?
My goodness.
How do they treat people below their social status?
Because in marriage you're gonna do a lot of talking. If a person cannot, if you are dating and you are asking questions, I don't like talking, I don't like opening up about my feelings, my dear,
run. Run, my dear. There's
My
no
dear.
commitment there. Run. Because once you are
It's gonna
married,
be tough for you.
you're
in
gonna have to
marriage.
keep
Yeah.
up with all those things because you can't get out of it.
If they cannot talk whilst dating,
They won't talk.
they won't talk in marriage.
It will be worse in marriage.
It will be worse because marriage requires talking, and you end up frustrated.
Yeah.
And be resentful, like you said. You end up angry.
Yeah.
You end up sad.
Yeah.
Resentful.
Yeah.
Fearful of bringing up conversations.
Yeah. All these things
other
that we've been
negative
talking about,
emotions that we've been
they
talking
come
about,
out.
they come up. Yeah.
You know. So we are taking a detour here, but anyway, we are talking disappointment, right? And the high expectations that people set. That's how disappointment builds up.
Yeah.
There's high expectations, there's unmet promises, right? People like talking, people don't like doing.
Sheesh.
And that's a problem, you know, unmet expectations everywhere.
Tla go rekela terena le
You
spoon.
know, I'll
Yeah.
buy you this, I'll buy you that, you know. And
I will.
yeah, and it ends up being, but I would rather deliver without saying anything. You know, that, because if I deliver
safe.
without saying anything, then whatever I delivered is high standard.
High standard.
You know,
Yeah.
rather than saying I'll buy you a Rolex and then I show up something else that is not a Rolex, you know. Disappointment is breeded by routine. Routine over time removes the excitement from your marriage.
Yes,
right?
definitely.
Over time, it leads to unmet desires of spontaneity.
It breaks trust as well.
You know, because what routine does is sometimes you have, when we've built up a systematic way of doing things, that's now our routine. Because we've built it together, it becomes difficult for me to come with a spontaneous activity
yeah.
because we have now solidified a routine.
A routine, yeah.
You know, so that then creates disappointment because now I'm just disappointed that I can't bring a spontaneous thing into our marriage.
Yeah.
How do you avoid disappointment? Set realistic expectations.
Yes, please.
Realistic expectations that are agreed upon by the two of us.
Yes.
Don't just set an expectation alone.
And your partner knows
And your
nothing
partner
about
knows
it.
nothing about it. It's
And
a
you're busy
bad
expecting
way.
things.
It's
Ghost expectations.
yeah, those are
right?
ghost expectations. You find
Yeah.
yourself so resentful, so disappointed, and your partner has no
idea.
idea
No
what's
clue
happening.
whatsoever.
Like, what
you
did
end
you
up
expect
sad.
from me? What did you expect from me? Because you never told me.
You never told
You know.
me. Yeah.
So, set realistic expectations. Be flexible in your dealings with each other. You know.
Definitely, yes, please.
Yes, you know, there's a good in having routine. I don't want couples to now get rid of routine.
Yeah.
Because routine creates stability and we need stability
definitely,
in
yeah.
marriage. But balance between,
There
you
should
need to
be
have a
room for
balance.
spontaneity, yeah.
Yes, you need to have balance between routine and spontaneity, right? Provide support. We spoke about this, you know. Be supportive emotionally, be supportive in every possible way you can be.
Yeah.
That way you remove disappointment from your marriage.
Yeah.
It helps a lot. Understand all these things that we spoke about today. Try to figure out where you are lacking in your marriage and speak to your spouse, man. You know, this is your lifetime companion. Speak to them. Try and resolve these things together. The best person who can help you
Is your spouse.
get rid of some of these bad habits, because these are just habits, you know, that
They
we
can
have
be done
learned.
away with, yeah.
That we have learned to embrace, and they shouldn't be embraced. So the best person who can assist you is your spouse.
Yeah.
Allow your spouse to point out these things and know that they are not attacking you when they are pointing them out, and then be able to grow and create a better and a beautiful marriage.
Awesome. We have come to the end of today's
That was a long episode.
That was a long episode. Ntepisen was complaining with the last episode, so I hope she's happy.
Yeah.
I
Even
hope she's
Sandile
happy.
was complaining. So there you go, guys. You have your
There
2
you go,
hours.
courtesy. It's a courtesy
This
episode.
episode was brought to you by
Ntepisen
Sandile
and
and
Sandy.
Ntepisen.
So if you've listened so far, please like, comment, share, and subscribe if you haven't subscribed to our channel.
Yep.
So that you
will know when we release our new episode.
This is not my line. You see, I don't even know what you normally say here. So as we conclude, if you notice these signs, please consider having an open and empathetic conversation with your spouse to address the fears and work towards building a safer and more supportive environment in your relationship or in your marriage. And build trust through transparency and consistency. And please see a therapist if you must. You know, emotions like anger, emotions like fear, emotions like resentment, they have no place in marriage. They are not supposed to be there. There's clearly an indication of a problem in your marriage, and it should be resolved sooner rather than later, because it can really lead to a detrimental space in your marriage or relationship. And for the positive emotions, please be consistent, be intentional, and adamant at displaying them in your relationship and in your marriage, because your marriage and your relationship, it needs it, or it needs those positive emotions in your marriage.
Awesome. Please, again, like, subscribe, share, and do everything you want to do with this episode just to get it out there. Thank you so much for joining us for today, and we hope to see you again next week. Remember, there is beauty in your marriage.
Show up, be present. Till next time, keep loving. Bye-bye.